Killer Klowns from Outer Space Update 1.2 is about to drop, and there's some huge changes.
This video has been brought to you by Gameway. Okay.
What's up, guys? I'm SigSoWavy, your gamer OG. Let's get into this patch. Real quick, I put videos up like this covering Killer Klowns from Outer Space, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, and Predator Hunting Grounds. If you're down with that, hit the subscribe button. Give the video a like. All right, let's get to it. Earlier, Ilphonic was in a live stream covering a bunch of things that were happening in the new update. First thing they mentioned were the archetypes for the humans. It seems that they tracked down the issues and are implementing them in the update.
Talking about and very vocal about, and we've had our eye on for a while, the human archetypes and their stats.
Yeah, I mean, and not the only thing we'll talk about today, but definitely a big one. But yeah, so we got the tracked down and found the things required to get the human archetypes back up and working. So there is going to be some differences amongst those as you select them and play with them. The stats that are there will, I think I'll call out first is the health stat. You know, this ultimately is how much damage on the clown side. You see the big chunks. The sections of health. The humans don't have the fluctuations that are quite that large, but it definitely comes down to some of the more specific instances that happen within matches that can lead you to survive just a little bit longer or die a bit quicker depending on which archetype that you're using.
And going right into the meat and potatoes, clowns are getting a nerf. Now, it's not a big nerf, but it's still a nerf. Clowns now have a delay on their stamina once depleted. So you gotta wait a little bit to start running again.
The clowns have also got an update that adds a recharge delay to the stamina. What this allowed me to do was go through and kind of take another pass at reapproaching everybody so that we could kind of address some of the things I was seeing in live, just as far as like how different clowns are managing their stamina as well as the humans themselves, because there's a lot of different actions that come into play when it comes to using the stamina. And so the recharge delay let me boost up the recharge specifically for everybody, but more so on the clown side because there was just a lot of instances.
To sort of paint a picture, it's like when you're sprinting and you stop sprinting, the stamina no longer immediately starts regenerating.
Correct. Yes, there is a brief delay there until it actually starts coming back, which kind of regulates and starts to give you a different pacing as far as how you're using it and how punishing it can be in certain circumstances, but then also allows for, you know, a more aggressive regen to be in play so that players aren't feeling like it's always downtime, especially on the clown side. Like it was just something that needed a little bit more tuning to it so that it was a bit more effective in that regard.
And from what I gather on this next part, the tank is getting a movement buff. It's much needed because nobody uses the tank. Why? Because he's always the last to the fight. And that shouldn't be the case. Here's what they had to say about it.
Yeah, speaking of strategic changes and a couple of different other balance changes, we got a good looking list for changes to mostly clowns. Starting off with the tank, it looks like.
Yeah, right now I think there's, like, as we're getting some of these bits and pieces together, I'm trying to be like the as far as the data and the things that I'm looking at from what we're gathering, like it's an interesting combination of how wins are happening right now. There's definitely a back and forth to where people are feeling the clowns versus humans stand, and it's funny to see that like it feels like it's evened out in a really good way, but I also don't want to go too far with anything. But I do know that in the moment to moment, a lot of the stuff that we needed to focus on was getting the clowns a little bit back into the fight, but without going too far to the point where it's just, you know, pendulum swing effect and all that. Anyway, a big easy one to kind of track down and get in there was getting the tank up and running, literally increasing his movement speed and getting him into the fight a bit more. He is very healthy, and so we don't want to go too big there, but he definitely benefits from the stamina increases and adjustments, and then we'll have a bit more of that run and walk speed. Not a ton, because he's still, like, you know, he's very healthy, and we don't want to give him the ability to go too crazy, but it's definitely going to make a big difference for how he's able to maneuver around the the different maps.
Also, there was a huge XP buff centered around cocoons. If you help somebody cocoon, if you cocoon somebody yourself, if you put them on a hook, all that XP has been reworked.
Kind of moving on here, I did increase the XP rewards for some match events centered around cocooning. There was, in order to get kind of the full payout of the cocoon, you had to go through the long process of kind of making sure someone died in it, which isn't necessarily, we want to make sure that it's an alluring thing to do, even if it doesn't mean you have to last out the entire thing. So boosting the cocooning of the human, the assist for cocooning a human, hooking up a human, are all going to be boosted and give you a bigger, better bonus of experience to incentivize that, as well as hitting people with a cocoon.
This one's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty, it's a good thing to do, and it's challenging enough that I think it deserves a bit better of a reward. So,
speaking of cocoons, your ability cooldowns are now directly correlated to the cocooning process. What does that mean? You get an increase in cooldowns while performing these actions. I think that's a W.
So this is when you hook up a cocoon, your trick cooldowns, because you don't start off, when you start off the match, they're all locked, and when you hook up a cocoon, it reduces that time that the trick is locked, correct?
Yes, correct. So to go along with this, I was just thinking back to the last patch, we increased the number of stray cocoons. There wasn't a whole lot of early clownpocalypses happening, and we feel it should be a more viable option than needing to search down every single last cocoon and basically have no time depending on how quickly the humans are trying to get out. So that should be a pretty big change and kind of give the clowns a bit more power early on. To be able to kind of reach those, but also incentivize that hooking and cocooning behavior.
And the Gobstopper flail gets a nerf. Why? I do not know. But here's what they had to say about it.
The Gobstopper flail was the receiver of damage boost on its regular attacks. Nothing big, but I felt it was kind of falling behind in the weaker spots of the melee field. There was a little bit I had worked to try and increase and kind of improve the hit detection on it as well, because there was just some weirdness in some of the swipes. So I took a little bit more time to try and help that in a way that would make it a bit more of a viable melee weapon. So it's definitely worth a try to give it a shot. The secondary charge on that thing, while it didn't get buffed, it is one of my favorite favorite attacks.
The wind-up noise is so nice, and I mean, you're gonna see me using that Gobstopper flow a lot more often.
Well, now I'm gonna debuff it.
Okay, all right.
So
listen, man.
I did give
and LOL gets a buff. Man, Clown's about to go crazy.
Just a general overall improvement or buff for the clowns is increased the speed of healing when using lull, so it will tick up a little bit faster. So it should give you a chance in some of the more intense scenarios. It's definitely worth popping when you're surrounded and when you're trying to fight your way out of a losing scenario. So this should give a little bit more of an edge. It's not a ton, but it's once again trying to be very cautious of swinging too far.
Also, the nerf, everybody knew it was coming. Clown movement penalties while running backwards. Here you go.
This one's actually a little bit of a debuff, but I think it was a bit fast. The backwards sprints. Yeah, the backwards sprint speed on the clowns I brought down a little bit, not much, just enough to make it so it wasn't full speed, which isn't a huge change, but it will make a difference in some of those closer scenarios. And then I also reduced the speed penalty when you're getting light stunned as a clown, which is usually when you're getting hit with a bat or something.
Now, on to this next one. Ilphonic promised, and they delivered. Matchmaking priority. Let's get it.
We do, in this next patch, have Matchmaking Preference coming to the game.
Yeah. So this is one that we've been having a fun time getting in there. But yeah, so if you go to now when 1.2.0 drops and you get the patch, you'll be able to boot up and you can go to your settings. Right at the top, kind of next to, if you're familiar with it, there's a spot that has the crossplay option. That right above it will be a matchmaking preference, and there's a little bit of a wording type up thing that just kind of describes what it is, but basically you're selecting your preference for the matchmaking systems to determine when it can place you at your preferred team. It will attempt to do so. So this is not a guarantee and a 100% chance kind of thing. It's more so if the opportunity exists, we're going to prefer you to that.
Also, Ilphonic says something about some new skins and cosmetics. You don't want to see that. Oh, you want to see that? Okay. Here.
Outfit. So here's a summer costumes pack. Hope you guys are gonna enjoy those. I know I will be enjoying running around in a full-on wetsuit or playing lifeguard. But I think
My favorite's
personally,
the Speedo.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I like the Speedo better or like the floaties look better. I know it's on the same outfit right now, but like the floaties and the cap, it's just such a such an iconic look. Okay, and of course we've got another cosmetic for the clowns. Here is another infernal skin. This one is for the tracker, and his name is Slappy. Slappy is real, and Slappy is gonna be coming for y'all.
Also, join me on Twitch Monday through Friday. Link down below in the description. Once again, my name is SigSoWavy, your gamer OG, and I'll catch you on the next wave.
Let's go.